I'm doing a video. Will wonders never cease. Will wonders never cease. It's been a while. It's good to be back. I hope to be doing a lot more videos. I know I've said that many times already, so we'll just see. I want to show you the initial and preparatory stages for doing a pen and ink drawing. This drawing is an illustration for chapter 1 in my new book, which is coming soon to a computer or an audio device near you. The title of the book is The Last Sinner. Some of you going, oh no, it's one of those preachy things. Well, it's entertaining. Plus, if it's the last one, I mean, how bad could it be? All right. Let me turn this camera around then and show you how I went about getting started. There we go. Making some progress. Slats on a wooden table, because this illustration is going to have a wooden table in it. And then in Photoshop, let me see if I have a detail. I do not. I'm going to jump all the way to this illustration and this rendering. So here's the tape. I took a picture of it and then in Photoshop made it in perspective, then made it in an oval, found the center of that oval. In Photoshop, I drew a pole. So this is like a patio table. Got it? Hey, Uncle Six. Uh-oh. Trouble already, Uncle? Oh, my goodness. Let's see if it comes back. Let's see if it comes. And I put red juice in it. All right. So then after a whole bunch of work, ignore this for the moment, I got all this done. Oh, and this splashing part right here, is it back yet? Back. Lost feedback. Oh my goodness. Well, I'm going to keep talking. This is just, I Googled wine splashing and got that little bit right there. All right, now the most challenging or fun part, depending on how you look at it, was when I started drawing this character. So once again, you don't know what this is about until I read for you, which I will do in a minute, until I read an excerpt. But here is one of the ways that I work and have worked for many years. I use a light table, and I will draw on one side of a piece of paper, and then turn on the light table and turn it over and make corrections, make improvements on this side, then erase the other one and go back and forth and back and forth. So on this piece of paper here, I probably went back and forth about 6 times, and then I actually scanned it into my computer, and then I moved it around again. Then I sketched it some more. This is the illustration I finally ended up with. Now the character in the book, YouTube's been screwy. Well, I'm just going to keep going. I'll read it to you in a minute, but this is evidently an Amazonian. Is that right? An Amazonian tribesman. And no, he is not the last sinner. That's not where we are in the book. But in the book, I describe him as running erratically. So he's supposed to look like he's running erratically. Now, I did this out of my head, and while I was doing it, I was thinking, man, I'm a little bit rusty on my anatomy because, I couldn't remember, what the divisions, where all these muscles would. I know the navel goes right there, blah, blah, blah. How does this muscle go in front of that one? So, you know what I discovered yesterday? It's time for me to go back and do some homework. And these are my 3 favorite books. We've talked about this before. 3 best books ever published on figure drawing. Figure Drawing for All It's Worth by Andrew Loomis. Drawing the Hidden Figure by Jack Ham. And George Bridgman's Life Drawing. But here's the most important thing to remember about those books. You get no credit for looking at the pictures. You only get credit, so to speak, of what I'm being kind of silly. They only, hang on, this book has got drawing in it. There we go, it's upside down. You only derive benefit from those books if you actually draw them. So I'm talking to you serious people, anybody out there who wants to be a serious artist. This is my work, and it goes all the way back, this book, to 2020. Yes, sirree, COVID. This is one of the things I did during COVID. I took the several months to brush up on my anatomy, but you know what? That's coming up on 4 years. And I discovered day before yesterday. See, like this kind of stuff, that kind of detail, you tend to forget. So you have to go back and do your homework over and over and over again. So I've done my homework in the past, but I discovered the other day, like, oh man, I'm getting a little rusty. So it's time to go back and do it. The only reason I'm showing you this is to teach, to be an inspiration perhaps, to show wannabe artists, to show young artists perhaps that this is what professionals do. This is homework, and it's just all part of the business. All right, so man, how many more pages? I don't know, but I discovered yesterday it's time for me to get back and do my homework. It be that as it may, this is good enough for this project. And when everything was done, I took the illustration I showed you earlier, this, and blew it up this big because I don't want to work that small. And I taped it to the back of this piece of paper. And now I'm going to turn my light table on again so we can see it coming through the back of this paper. I'll get it right here in a second. One of these switches doesn't work too well. All right. There we go. Now you're seeing the drawing coming through the back. And I think it's probably about time that I pause and read an excerpt from the book. Fair enough? So just a few paragraphs. I got them right here. And indeed, this is a book that I've written. It's called The Last Sinner. I have purchased thelastsinner.com and .org, and eventually you'll be able to order the book there. All right, here, reading right in the middle of chapter 1. We usually saw them coming long before they got to the gates of the city. Usually, but not always. One of the first sinners I witnessed repenting his way into the city surprised everybody. Nobody saw him coming until we heard him sprinting across the wide meadow just outside the Naphtali gate. You don't normally hear somebody sprinting. They're too busy breathing. But this man somehow managed to sprint, breathe, scream, and yell all at the same time. And of course, you don't hear many people scream in heaven. Shrieks of delight are about as close as it gets. But this was a real scream. Birds and angels exploded into the sky as he pierced the air with his something like that. Heads jerked up in unison, most of us sipping afternoon drinks on the wide veranda under the yellow umbrellas just outside the gate. So this is the part of the story that I'm illustrating. Let me start there again. Hands jerked up in unison, most of us sipping afternoon drinks on the wide veranda out under the yellow umbrellas just outside the gate. Drinks were spilled, their celestial contents dribbling through the slats of the table. Yes, you can still spill things in heaven. I was fairly new to heaven in those days, but even most of the old-timers had never seen anything like it. The only thing more surprising than his scream was his running. He ran like someone being chased by a lion, but he clearly was not a natural runner. Erratic limbs flopped in all directions around his twitching torso. When his feet hit the sandy gold path, he made straight for the gate, people, carts, animals, and angels jumping aside as he barreled toward them. As he neared the huge opening, he raised both arms high over his head and let out another garbled scream. The gate was filled with people standing in line, travelers, officials, and sightseers. They parted like the Red Sea, and the crazed man passed through on dry ground, all right. Pharaoh's army, right on his tail, evidently. As soon as he was all the way through and back into the sunshine of the street, he fell to his knees and pressed his face hard into the cool stone, gasping for air. Well, that's one way to do it, some smart aleck whispered as we all jostled to see what would happen next. All right, I could go on, but that's enough. So that's what I'm illustrating in this illustration. Did I just use the word illustration twice in a row? I just used it 3 times now. What type of book is this? Is it your first book? I've been a writer my whole life. Some of you are going to say, you're an artist, stick to writing. Well, you don't know me. I'm actually writing is a skill that I have in my hand. Art is a skill that I have as a tool. Writing is very close to my heart, so I'm actually a lot more serious about my writing than I am. Let me say this again. I might not be any good. That remains to be seen. I don't think that's true. But I'm actually a lot more serious about my writing than I am about my art. And I've written many books. The only one that's published is because I'm the ghostwriter. There's a book out there that I wrote 99.9% of the book, but it has somebody else's name on it. That's what happens when you work for people. On my live feed so I can watch your comments. No, it's not working. So this is a rapidograph pen. Some of you don't know what a rapidograph pen even is. That's all right. It's an antique tool, that's for sure. And I'm just going to make a few marks here. I am working on coated paper. All that means is shiny paper like magazines are printed on. That's called coated paper. And I sprayed it with a layer of workable fixative. And this is going to be dreadfully boring, so I'm going to end this video very soon. And I am going to video myself doing this cross-hatching and then release it as a time-lapse video, so it'll be very fast. But at least now I've got the introduction out of the way, and for the next couple days I can do just a straight-up art video. Hey, Wright Jackson, good to see you. Hello, Sherry. Thank you for letting me know it was sideways. Yeah, the book will be a lot of fun. And I mean, I think it'll be fun for anybody. don't tell anybody I said this, but I'll have the most trouble with religious people. Okay, they won't like, but if they let themselves enjoy it, they will still enjoy the book. All right, a little provocateur there. Thanks for watching, and I'll be back tomorrow. Thanks. Bye-bye.